Hi, my name is Lynn, and welcome back to my channel, Nourish Your Crown, where we share information, resources, and encouragement to support you on your hair journey. After being diagnosed with early scarring alopecia, I decided that I wanted to take a holistic approach to treatment. It's an up and down journey, and I'm sharing everything that I'm learning and hope that it supports and encourages you too. If you're looking for this type of content, please hit that like and subscribe button and also share this with a family member or friend who might also be on the same journey. Today, we have an interview with Karen of Curl House, and let me tell you, when I say you want to grab something to drink, settle down, and you're going to want to watch this entire video.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So, hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Um, if you can't tell, I am so excited to have with us today Karen of Curl House. She is a trichologist, a cosmetologist. She is an expert, a motivator, an inspirational woman that is here to share her knowledge and her gifts with us. So, welcome to the channel, Miss
Thank
Karen
you.
of Curl House.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So we are going to get straight into this interview. Thank you all in advance for the questions that you sent. We're going to get to those as well, but we are going to just jump right into this conversation and discussion about hair loss, regrowth, and all of the opportunities that this experience is presenting to us at this time. So let's get started. So, Karen, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Why you're even on this journey of being a trichologist, and what drew you to the field?
Okay, well, thank you again for having me. As you can see, I have a big cheese grin on my face, so I'm just excited as you are. But I've just always loved hair since I was a child. I was just what I say, born doing hair. But I
Mhm.
took a different approach. I went to college, went to graduate school, and took that route. But all the while, I still did hair. I just loved it. So in my 30s, actually, I became licensed
Mhm.
cosmetologist and I noticed clients' hair was coming out. So I thought hair is coming out due to relaxers. That was in my ignorance because I didn't know. So I
Mhm.
stopped doing relaxed hair. I started totally focusing on natural hair. And, my clients' hair started to flourish.
Mhm.
But then at some point, I noticed even with no relaxers, why are some of my clients still losing their hair? I couldn't understand it. Like they didn't have a relaxer, they were doing great hair care, scalp care. I couldn't figure out what the problem was. I would send them to a dermatologist and they would come back and say, oh, well, I have alopecia. And I thought, okay, well, why? Why is your hair
Mhm.
coming out? I still couldn't get the why. So I decided I wanted to know, why are we losing our hair? And I learned about trichology in cosmetology school, but in cosmetology school, we probably only had about a chapter, not a
Okay.
lot, about trichology. So I went to school for a couple years to become certified to practice trichology. And a trichologist is a hair loss specialist. We are not doctors, but we do know the science of the body. Tricho means hair, ologist is specialist, so we specialize in hair, but we're not doctors. We recognize hair and scalp disorders, but we don't do a diagnosis like what a
Mm.
dermatologist would do. So that's the difference between the two. But that's primarily why I became a trichologist because I wanted to know, why are we losing our hair if it's
Right.
not just a relaxer? Of course, I have since found out that there are some hair loss disorders that can be contributed to the relaxer. Um, but that's what I wanted to know. Why is our hair coming out? And it would just pain me just to
Right.
see clients losing their hair. And
Mhm.
I always talk about one particular client when I first became interested in hair loss. She sat in my chair and I saw a little circle about the size, maybe the size of a dime.
Mhm.
And I said, hey, you have a little patch right here. Sent it to the dermatologist. She came back and said, well, it's just hair loss. The dermatologist, I think, gave her some steroid injections, but that was it. And I said,
Mhm.
okay. So over the years, I watched that little circle the size of a dime grow into a quarter, grow into an apple size, and just spread throughout her hair.
Mm.
And and
Mhm.
I thought, what is this? And
Mhm.
unfortunately, because I didn't know, I watched her lose her hair. She had
Mhm.
scarring alopecia,
Mhm.
CCCA. I know now, but
Mhm.
I was helpless. I couldn't do anything then.
Mhm.
Now I know how to treat it. So she was my motivation to
Mm.
really get training on how to deal with hair loss.
Awesome. Awesome. And I know I've watched a few of your videos, just a few,
Oh,
a lot, by the way. And you talk a little bit about your hair story. So can you talk to us a little bit about
sure.
your hair story?
Okay, so I can say in my 20s, like when I was relaxed, I've had, I always had long, straight hair in my 20s. By mid 20s, I noticed that my hair, the top of my hair started to, it still grew, it started to get thinner, but the top part didn't grow as much. I always had a bang.
Mhm.
And so I didn't think much of it, but after years of having a relaxer, like I said, I've always been a hair care person. I've always took care of hair.
Mhm.
So after at some point I realized, why is my hair thinning so much? And I just reduced it to the common denominator. It has to be the relaxer because I'm doing everything else right. So one day I just cut all my hair off. I
Mhm.
went natural. My hair flourished. When I was going to trichology school,
Mhm.
preparing to become a trichologist, I was completely stressed out, totally stressed. It was the most
Oh.
stressful time in my life when I
Mm.
was in trichology school. I came certified, I graduated, and 3 months later, my hair fell out.
Ooh.
And I thought, really? Okay, come on, God. I'm
Mhm.
now a trichologist. I don't have to deal with hair
Mm.
loss in order to relate to the woman, like to be a better. I mean, I didn't have to go through this, Lord. Like, really? Did my hair have to come out?
Right.
So yeah, like I do I have to experience this too? But anyway, my hair fell out due to stress,
Mhm.
and it definitely the stress, telogen effluvium, one type of hair loss that's
Mhm.
primarily rooted in stress, high cortisol. So it was stress. In addition to that, I found out that I had female pattern hair loss as well, and it kind of made sense that the
Mhm.
top of my hair grew slower. The top of my hair, the texture started changing some in the top. So I thought about in my 20s, late 20s, when I was saying, why do I have this short hair? Why is the top of my hair not growing? So I kind of put everything together. So the female pattern hair loss or androgenetic hair loss made sense.
Mhm.
And what I had to do as a result of me experiencing it. So, I asked God, well, why did I have to go through this in order for
Mhm.
me to relate? It wasn't just for me to relate. It was really for me to really get serious to practice what I
Mm.
preach. Because I could sit in my trichology practice and tell clients all the time, oh, you have this type of hair loss. We're going to treat it topically and internally. I'll do my
Mhm.
part, you'll do your part. Your part is to change your diet. Your
Right.
part is to get healthy. Your part is to exercise. Your part is to drink less sugary sodas and have more water. So I
Right.
was saying all of this to clients, but I wasn't really doing it myself.
Okay.
So when I started to experience it, it's like the light bulb went off. I need to get serious about my health, not just
Mhm.
my hair, about my health. And that
Absolutely.
was my light bulb that went off.
Awesome. And if you're new here, you may not have seen these videos, but for my videos, I'm not a trichologist, but I am someone who obviously has dealt with hair loss, and that was one of my light bulb moments. Karen, was when
Mhm.
when I was like laid out, like, why is this happening to me? Why am I going bald? And all this,
Mhm.
and it was like the hair loss is a symptom,
Yes,
right? And what I needed to do was address the root causes, right? The
that's
inflammation, the things that were really causing it. Not the hair loss
the hair.
is just exactly.
And that's what I say. Your hair, healthy hair, is the bonus to the
Yes.
health. A lot of times, if we're being totally transparent, including me, women, we won't address our hair or our hair loss, or excuse me, we won't address stuff going on in our body until it shows up in our hair. I mean, because your body talks to you.
Yep.
You'll start to feel stuff within your body. You got an ache here, you got an ache there. You might wake up and your limbs are sleeping, so you might have some poor circulation. Your body is talking to you,
Yep.
but you are ignoring it. But it's not until that hair start coming out where
If
it's
you like,
like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. I need to do something. Oh
right,
my God, my hair is coming up now. But by the
right,
time it reaches your hair, I mean, your hair, like you said, it's just a symptom.
right.
That's the clearly visible sign that something is going on within the body. But
Right.
we typically wait until it shows up in our hair. And by the time it shows up in our hair, it has done damage within our body. And it's
Yep.
usually that inflammation, because you can have that inflammation in your body for months or even years before it actually shows up.
Right.
But we wait because we won't prioritize our health until our hair is affected. Like I said, I was guilty of it
Right.
too.
Yep.
So that is why it's my
Yep.
new mission to encourage women. Let's get healthy, ladies.
Right. Right. So, okay, so let's talk about that as a perfect segue. Let's talk about inflammation in
Mhm.
hair loss. Like, what role does excess inflammation play in hair loss? And maybe, and I'm sure we'll talk about this going forward. What are the lifestyle factors, the things that we can do
Mhm.
to reduce excess inflammation?
Well, inflammation is like, it's natural, right?
Mhm.
Inflammation is not a bad thing
Right.
until it's an excess. Like inflammation is protection. Inflammation is your immune system, is your body's way of saying, hey, something is wrong. You got a cut on your arm. Let's go fix it. Or you have too much bacteria in your gut.
Mhm.
Hey, let's correct it. Let's protect you. So that's normal. It's when it's the chronic inflammation in the body that is when we have the issues.
Right.
And one of the things that really increases inflammation, among many things, is stress.
Mhm.
Stress exacerbates inflammation. Inflammation exacerbates stress. It's like they go kind of hand in hand. So
Mhm.
there's the inflammation in the body, there's the inflammation directly on the scalp. In terms of the types of alopecia, so alopecia means hair loss.
Mhm.
So there's so many different types of hair loss, but trichologists, we typically categorize them into inflammatory types of hair loss and non-inflammatory.
Okay.
Those that are inflammatory are the ones that's the more urgent. So that's the ones where the inflammation is attacking that hair follicle. And over time, that inflammation can cause the hair follicle to no longer be viable so that
Mhm.
your hair no longer grows. Now, and a lot of that would be your scarring alopecias.
Mhm.
Um, CCCA, central centrifugal cicatricial alopecia, one of the main scarring alopecias that affects Black women in particular. That is all inflammatory.
Mhm.
And once that, again, the inflammation attacks that hair follicle, it can destroy
That's
your
right.
hair follicle. That's why it's best to treat it early to get the
Mhm.
best results. Non inflammatory would be something like a genetic alopecia,
Okay.
which is what I explained earlier, which is primarily in your genes. The DHT would be my hormonal hair loss, attacks that
Mhm.
hair follicle, but that can be stopped in reverse where the hair follicle isn't destroyed if it's treated early.
Right.
But
So, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, you go ahead.
So I know I had been diagnosed with early scarring alopecia, right?
Hmm.
They had said early CCCA, but it was also, they said, essentially, I think there's a differential diagnosis too. So it was also possibly telogen effluvium.
Fluvium. Hmm.
Um, and I don't know if she said, I can't remember. I'm trying to look at the paperwork in my mind, but and then I know that there was a part of it that was hormonal because it was right
Here.
here. So it
Hmm.
started out in the crown, like that's where it
Hmm.
started. There's a little kind of an anchor spot there, and
Hmm.
it just grew until it was almost all. This was almost all gone.
Okay.
And anyway, that's a whole nother video. But by doing the things that you talked that we're going to talk about too,
Hmm.
it came back. Like it
Came
didn't
back,
go,
right?
it came back. So okay, so let's talk about stress.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about nutrition. So we can go right into that, or maybe they're
Okay.
together. So you tell us your thoughts about stress, what we can do, how you relieve stress. Like, what are the things that we know? Because I think we try to focus on this channel about the things that are in our control, right? There's so many
Okay.
things that are out of our control that we can't do. We
Hmm.
can't determine how quickly the hair shaft grows or if the hair follicle. But what we can do is determine how we move and how we do, things. So,
Okay.
what are the things that your ideas around stress and what we can do to help the healing process?
Okay. So stress. And I'm gonna relate it to what you just talked about when you talked about your different types of alopecias, because normally when you have alopecia, you may have more than one. So
Mhm.
you had the scarring, which typically is right in the center. And then the telogen effluvium, what I mentioned earlier, may be more stress induced. So we're all stressed. We all deal with stress, but it's not the stress, it's how you manage the stress. Unmanaged stress, just too much stress releases too much cortisol in your body. And when it comes to your body and how it operates, your body prioritizes its major organs like your heart, your liver, your lungs, your brain. When it's all said and done, your body doesn't care about your hair. Like, your body knows that you can function just fine with not a strand of hair on your head. Like, your body knows that. So, like, God make the body smart. So when it comes to stress and when your body has to deal with stress, it's going to kind of shut down all of the non-essential functions. And what do you think hair growth is?
Non-essential.
Non-essential. So that is why when you are stressed, your hair may come out. Now, unfortunately, it's like that catch 22, because when you're stressed, or if you're dealing with hair loss, that will probably increase your stress.
Right, right.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, but you have to manage it. So I think in terms of stress and inflammation, they go hand in hand. But for me, for Karen, and in my practice dealing with trichology for many, many years, and I would say 99.9% of the women that I've treated, ones I haven't treated, ones I talk to, some of my girlfriends in my circle, my mom, just women in general, we're chronically stressed.
Yes.
We are stressed out. We are chronically stressed. A lot of times we know it. And it's what I call, we are functional stressed out people, because we still function.
Yeah.
We gets it done,
Yeah.
right? All right. We gonna do it now. We gonna get it done. We are super women. But at what cost?
Right. Right.
That's, yeah, at what cost? And in all of my studies and all the women that I've worked with, even in terms of treatment, there are many different types of topical treatment plans. I mean, I could spit off like 20, but I feel like what's not prioritized is stress management. Like, because it doesn't matter how many growth oils you put on your scalp, how many scalp massages you do, how much exercise you do all the time. If you are chronically stressed out, if you cannot manage your stress, it will affect your hair.
Right. Right.
I feel like that's what needs to be addressed. So in terms of what I do, there are many stress management techniques. What I tell my clients, you have to do what works for you. So for example, I'm a woman of faith. I pray. So when I talk to women, I'll ask, what do you do to help you stress? I pray. Okay. Are you still stressed out? Yeah. Well, something ain't working if you're praying. Well, what's wrong then? Something may not be
Right.
working.
Right. Right.
Yeah, like, okay, are you praying because you're supposed to pray? Or are you praying for meditation? Are you talking to God, or are you quiet and are you listening to God?
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
and that's different, because we women, we like to talk. We'll go and talk to God about this and that, but are you listening? And listening just with your ears, but listening through what you're reading in the word. Like, that's listening to God too. So if the word is telling you, hey girl, don't worry about it. Don't worry about nothing. I got it. Release it to me. I'll give you rest. Are you believing what you read? So what I encourage women, and I'm saying this is what I had to do too. Like, I really had to get serious about my prayer life and really listening to God and believing what I read in the word. So that's what I do. I encourage women 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Like, if praying is what's important to you, you can start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I pray in my closet, literally in my closet. It is the only place in my house where there are no distractions. In my shoe closet. It's quiet. I don't have my phone. I can just focus, but really get serious about your prayer life. It's that, even so much where I actually wrote a prayer for women that I can share later. So that's number one for me. Number two, in addition to that, is exercise. Like, now let me keep it real. I don't enjoy exercising. Now, it's not something that I call my trainer and say, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you today, because I'm not to the point where, oh, I love to exercise, but I love the way it makes me feel.
Right.
It does. I love the way it makes me feel. Like, I love the way it makes my body feel. So
Mm-hmm.
just so it does reduce stress. It also increases blood circulation to the scalp, which is what you need to regrow hair.
Right.
And then in terms of that stress, you have identify what's causing the stress.
Right.
So that's why my stress management technique may not work for you. You may be someone who exercises, but
Mm-hmm.
still is stressed out. But what
Mm-hmm.
is causing you to be stressed out? Identify, like, you have to have this, you have to reflect. And sometimes when you get quiet in your closet, that's
Mm-hmm.
when you can reflect upon your life and figure out, well, what is causing me this stress and what
Right.
can I do about it? Is it people? Is it this person? When this person calls, does this person stress me out? If
Right.
that's the case, what can you do about that person?
Right.
Like,
Right.
and it's that's some of the things I recommend. Yeah, that some people will dance.
Mm-hmm.
I love dancing. Like, dancing reduces stress. Reading books reduces stress. It's like putting the body in a quiet state where you're
Mm-hmm.
not as you're not cared. You don't care about the things that are stressing you. You can kind of de-stress from your stressors, and
Mm-hmm.
that can be many. Some people go on walks. Some people read books. I read a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
relevant to hair. Sometimes I'm sick of reading stuff dealing with hair. Let me just read some trash. Can I read some trash? Like, can I read a good book, a murder mystery, a love novel, just some trash that relaxes me? Some people like to watch TV,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, I don't watch Housewives, but
Mm-hmm.
Housewives, just do whatever relaxes you. But the
Mm-hmm.
goal is not to do it, just do it. The goal is consistency. You
Right.
have to do it consistently in order for it to work.
I think too, like I think as I'm on this journey of building in sort of the
Uh-huh.
self-care and stress management, that if we start the rhythm now,
Mhm.
then when the stress, when the next thing hits, we'll already have something in place. So we're not
Place.
trying to be reactive. And so that's where I do encourage people, like wherever you are on the spectrum, whether you have an amazing self-care regimen or you're just getting
Mhm.
started, just start where you are and
Right.
just
I
take
think
it one day at a time. You get a new day, you got a new mercy, start there, right?
I
So,
I I think that is awesome advice, being proactive as opposed
mm,
to reactive. Like, and we're super women,
yes,
but we don't incorporate self-care.
right.
We don't
Mhm.
incorporate self-care. So I think you're absolutely right. That is so important for the body and for the mental health.
Right, right. So let's pivot a little bit and talk about nutrition.
Okay.
So, what we eat, what we don't eat. When I again started figuring out what was going on, I realized I knew that I had a milk, I was
Balance.
intolerant,
Uh-huh.
lactose intolerant. I knew that. But for years, I said this in the video, for years, I would take lactate thinking that it was helping me. But what I was actually
Yeah.
doing was causing a significant amount of gut dysbiosis, right?
Hmm.
For years, which was another trigger, right? In addition to the other things. And so I ended up cutting out milk complete
Yeah.
100%.
Good.
Um, so when it comes to nutrition and eliminating things or adding things, what are the things that we should be mindful of in terms of how we're fueling ourselves?
Number one source of fuel is water.
Mhm.
It's as simple as that. Water. Like, I typically recommend half your body weight, or
Mhm.
2 to 3 ounces of, not 2 to 3 liters of water, and for proper hair growth.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
water, water, water. And if you're drinking more water, then guess what? You're not drinking as much soda.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would I'm I'm very cautious about using the word totally eliminate.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Okay.
so because that is like scary. Now
Mhm.
that could be your goal, but you don't have to start there.
Mhm.
So for some
Mhm.
people, I know people who say, Karen, I hate water. I don't drink water. And I'm like, this is in my mind, I'm like this, like the emoji. Oh.
Look, Karen, I'm one of those people. I I I struggle to get 64 ounces, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm like, oh God.
I am
Okay,
her.
no
I am
problem.
her.
I am the person where I meet you where you are because that is realistic. So if you are the person who you never drink water at all, start with one glass a day. Start
Right.
with one glass and build and build and build because it's not, you want your body to get to the point where your body recognizes that it needs water and it starts to crave
That's good.
water. So even if you drink water, you drink it begrudgingly, you hate it. Like my mom, I could throw her under the bus. My mom is one of those people. She doesn't drink water. If she drinks water, she has to put what's that thing? A Crystal Light in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And it's like, you can't just drink. No, I gotta put Crystal Light. I said, well, you know that has a lot of aspartame. No, you know what? That's where you are.
Right.
So if that's gonna help you, girl, put your Crystal Light in
Right.
there, and eventually you can wean your, because it's like an addiction, right? or
Right.
or lack
Right.
of,
Right.
wean yourself off of that and increase your water intake so you don't have to do it like cold turkey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people can do that. If you can, go for it. If not, do it gradually, but do what's realistic for you. But
Yeah.
water, oh, I could go on and on about the benefits of
Mm-hmm.
water, but we'll just start with, I mean, water is life. Water is universal
Mm-hmm.
to health.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to drink more water. And then second is reduce your consumption of refined sugar, like, oh, sugary foods, like crap. You notice
Oh,
I said reduce.
right.
I didn't
Thank you.
say
Thank you.
eliminate. Okay, see,
Thank
I'm
you.
using the right words
Because that
now.
I couldn't get. I thank you.
I said
Reduce.
reduce. So if you are reducing your consumption of, I call it crap foods. Let me give it a better name. Processed foods,
Mm-hmm.
fast foods, high fat foods. If you're reducing your consumption of that, then you want to increase your consumption of fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. It's as
Mm-hmm.
simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you normally go out and have a burger and french fries, then go out and have a burger and broccoli or a burger and salad. Yeah, so you want to increase your consumption of those anti-inflammatory foods, which would be from your fresh greens, dark kale. I eat a huge kale salad every day.
Mm-hmm.
Dark green leafy vegetables, nuts,
Mm-hmm.
grains, quinoa. Make sure you're eating protein-rich foods.
Okay.
So that's the general parameters in terms of the nutrients. A lot of times, uh, hair loss is rooted in inflammation within the body. So you want to minimize. You want to help your body out. Help your
Right.
body
Right.
out.
Right.
Give your body what it needs. When you're eating foods that doesn't feed the body, it makes you full, but it doesn't feed your cells. And nutrients is what your body needs for your hair to grow. It's the
Mm-hmm.
nutrients that you give your body that helps your hair to grow. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the water that helps your hair to grow. So, if you're not giving your body what it needs in terms of the proper nutrients, it will affect your hair. Anything you eat goes to feed your vital organs first. What's left, the body don't care about hair.
Right.
But if there's not much left, then those nutrients will go to your vital organs first. And that's part of the reason we're dealing with the hair loss as well, which is why like nutrient deficiencies is one of the number one reasons that we're losing hair. Iron, I believe, is the number one
Mm-hmm.
deficiency that creates hair loss.
Mm.
Iron deficiency.
Right.
You can
Right.
increase your green leafy vegetables to get your iron in,
Right.
among other
Right.
things. So that's the approach I take with food. It is just a gradual process. It is. You may not be able to do it overnight because it's
Right.
not overnight. You have to create for some, a lifestyle change of
Mhm.
healthy foods. That doesn't mean you can't eat the junk because I love my lemon donuts on the weekend.
Right.
Okay? On the
Okay.
weekend. That's what's important.
Right.
But doing gradual changes,
Yeah. Yeah.
even like yeast foods and gluten foods and dairy foods, that's linked to different types of scalp disorders as
Right.
well.
Right.
So particularly dairy, if you're dealing with itchy scalp,
Yep.
seborrheic dermatitis, cut out the dairy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cut it out. When people come and say, "Oh, Karen, my scalp is so dry, my scalp is so itchy," the first thing I don't say, "Oh, girl, put this oil on your scalp." No, the first question I'll ask, "Well, how much water are you drinking?"
Good.
They're like, what? Yes, how much water are you drinking? Hydration starts within the body.
Right.
So there is, I clearly I focus on health
Right.
first. Yeah.
Yes.
Some people like, and I used to do this, I don't do it anymore. What is it, blood type diets?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I used to do that because I was trained with blood typing. Some
Okay.
trichologists take that approach, some
Okay.
don't. I was trained on that. I started doing that and I thought, no, I stopped. I mean, I'm not
Mhm.
opposed to it because ultimately, blood type diet, the foods that you're eating according to your blood type are still very healthy foods. So across
Right.
the
Right.
board, you're going to hear cut out the refined sugar, like
Mhm.
cut out
Mhm.
processed foods across the board, but it's
Mhm.
just not something that I promote now.
Right. Right. Okay. So you are teaching right here.
Uh-huh.
You are teaching right here. So let me just tell you,
Okay.
I appreciate it because I feel like every time I either work on a video or share what I'm learning, or I feel like I'm constantly on this journey of getting to that, doing these things. So
Hmm.
increasing greens, I did it. I'm continuing to learn to do it. Like it's still
Oh,
a journey for me. The water is one of the hardest ones, believe it or not, for me. I Anyway, that's a whole other story. So
it is, but you're doing it though.
I'm trying little by little. Like I tried it. I'll
No,
just
you could take the word try out.
okay.
You can say I
Yeah,
am increasing my water
I am.
because you are, and you'll continue to increase.
Yes, I will.
Yeah,
Thank you.
try just kind of denotes I tried it and
Mm,
it didn't work.
you're right.
But
You're right.
no, it's working.
You're right.
So it's like you're not trying it anymore. You
I'm
tried it the
doing.
first time you picked up the glass. You're doing it. So like I
Okay.
think about what's that movie? I just watched the movie Air about Nike
Oh,
and I
okay. I
looked
wanted to
at
watch that.
the logo. It's a great movie by the
Okay.
way. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when I saw that I thought the logo doesn't say just try it. It says just
Just
do it.
do it.
And that's what you're doing. You're doing it. So you're not trying it anymore. You're doing
Doing
it.
it.
Kudos to you.
You're
That's awesome. Keep
you're such a
on going.
cheerleader. You're such a cheerleader. And I'm here for it.
I will be
Um,
your number one cheerleader.
thank you. Because thank you. So okay, so there's I want to be mindful of your time, and I also have
Oh,
some
it's
more
fine.
questions.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Could you do this for us? This would be could you build us your ideal salad for lunch? Like what's in your dream salad for lunch?
Okay. Let me tell you how simple it is.
Okay.
Because I do a salad and I do a smoothie. But we're
Okay.
gonna do a salad.
Can you do the
Okay.
smoothie? Tell us a smoothie too.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
do the smoothie.
Okay.
Let me because the smoothie got a whole bunch of stuff in it. But the
Okay.
main things for the salad, I have I have a picture. Okay, anyway,
Okay.
I have kale.
Okay.
Kale, spinach,
Hmm.
and arugula.
Okay,
That's
that's
the
three.
base.
You got three greens.
Yes, kale, spinach, and arugula. If I
Okay.
run out of one, it's fine, but
Hmm.
kale, spinach, and arugula
Okay.
as the base. Then I put in chia seeds.
Oh, and your salad.
Yes, I do.
First of all, I'm writing notes, but
Okay.
I never thought about that in my
Yes,
salad. I got a whole
on
thing.
your salad.
Okay,
And keep in
good.
mind, I'm plant based too.
Oh,
So I
okay,
don't
okay,
so I don't eat meat. So I'll have huge salads.
okay,
Like the salad is a big old bowl.
okay.
Um, so kale, arugula, and spinach, all three. Flax seeds, chia seeds.
The flax seeds are raw,
Yes.
like not ground up.
No, no, grounded. Excuse me.
Grounded. Okay.
Grounded flax seeds, grounded. Well, not grounded, but chia seeds. Sliced almonds because almonds
Mm-hmm.
are good for protein.
Mm-hmm.
So those three things, sometimes I'll put walnuts in. My
Mm-hmm.
husband likes pecans, so sometimes I'll put pecans in. I'll cut up an apple for
Okay.
my fiber, and I top it off with blueberries.
Oh,
Berries is great, and biotin, berries are great. Those are the main things that I add.
okay.
It's quick, it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
For dressing, I put olive oil and red wine vinegar,
Okay. Yep. Yep.
and it's amazing.
I got all this stuff in my house right now. I need to make
And
it.
you probably got all in your house. I call it, and how I came up with it, it's oh, excuse me, sometimes I'll do what's called the kitchen sink salad.
Okay.
Whatever I got, I'll throw it in there. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just if I don't have something, no, what, I'll replace it with this. But that's it. It's really, really simple.
Okay.
Now that's the salad.
Mm-hmm.
Now the smoothie is different.
Okay.
The smoothie that's more of the kitchen sink. But the smoothie I have spinach and kale.
Oh, in addition, so you
No,
got
this is the smoothie now.
right,
This is
right.
the smoothie. Yeah, spinach and kale
Mm-hmm.
and apple really cuts out the taste of. I mean, just
Yeah.
makes it better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, spinach, cucumber.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, cilantro,
Oh, I love.
ginger,
Okay.
ginger,
Mm-hmm.
dates. That's to give it some
Mm-hmm.
sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Dates is just. I put the seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds. I put sea moss.
Okay. Yep.
Yes, in it. Wait a minute, I'm missing something. Celery.
Okay.
I think that. Oh, and blueberries.
Okay.
That you want a good detox? Do
That
that.
sounds good.
Put that. And for if I go back to that salad, if you put a little bit of vitamin C, lemon,
Mm-hmm.
it helps the greens more to make it more
Gotcha.
bio digestible in your body.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I know I've seen before they say you can massage the kale with like the lemon juice and
Yes,
like okay.
you can. Yeah, you can do that. I do that when I'm really trying to be fancy.
Okay.
But if I'm trying to do something quick, put it in, whip it
Yeah.
together, and let's roll.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah, that's
everybody.
the
So
green smoothie. Do
that's
that.
the we need to try. If you try these recipes out, leave a comment here or go to Miss Karen's website, her YouTube channel. Leave a comment there. We're gonna give you all her socials and all that in a minute. So
And
okay, thank
that do it. And what I was saying about in terms of how you feel, I
you.
talk to now when I eat a donut,
Hmm.
I feel great for the 25 seconds it takes me to eat this donut. Okay? When
Right.
I eat that salad, I feel amazing. I was just telling my husband, it's like, oh, no, it doesn't taste like a donut. But it's something about health that feels good.
Mm,
And that's where I want people to get to the point where healthy lifestyle, healthy habits
hmm.
feel good. It's more permanent than the temporary satisfaction of that donut. So
Okay.
even if I eat a donut, guess what I do? I still eat my salad. I eat my salad every day.
Hey. Okay.
I eat green every day.
Right. And you can see it. You are literally glowing. You can literally.
Oh,
You are
oh, thank
beautiful.
you. Thank
Beautiful.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
So why don't we transition? We're almost at 37, 38 minutes. Why don't we transition to some of the questions from the community,
Okay.
and then we'll round it out. But I would
Okay.
also, at once we do the questions, I would love to leave some time. Um, Actually, maybe before we get to the questions, supplementations. Or what thoughts do you have about supplements? And then let's go to the questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. So I'm all for supplements because
Mhm,
I feel like supplements, even when you're eating healthy, just in our country, just the way our food grows, the way our fruits and our vegetable grows, like a lot of times the soil is just not nutrient dense. So
mhm,
even if I talk to my mom and I say, hey, look at this organic apple. Is it the same? My mom grew up, she had an apple tree. This was
mhm.
50 plus years ago. She said, no, nothing is the same from how she grew up. So it's like, I've done research and the things that we eat, the soil that our fruits and vegetables grow in, it doesn't start in the nutrient dense soil that it did back then. So it's like,
Mhm.
even if you eat the healthiest meals, you still may need the supplement. So I'm all for supplementation, but the supplementation should not replace the food.
Right.
Okay, let me be clear about
Right.
that.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
let's be clear about that. So yeah, yeah, supplements are fine, particularly for hair. Like the main supplements, vitamin D,
Yes.
that is dealing with hair loss. Vitamin D. A lot of people of color, we have a vitamin D deficiency. Yes, you can get it in the sun, but if you know you're not that person that like to be out in the sun, go
Mhm.
get yourself a vitamin D pill. And with supplements, be mindful of where you purchase them from because
Yes.
a lot of supplements just contain so many synthetic ingredient. So you're not really getting what you think you're getting, or you're getting a much smaller quantity than what you think you're getting. Getting vitamin Z, D, zinc, vitamin C is
Mm-hmm.
also important. Biotin is very important for hair growth. I think most people know about biotin. Biotin is really what helps to create those red blood cells, and those your red
Mm.
blood cells is what carries the oxygen and the nutrients to the hair, to the scalp for hair
Okay.
growth. That's why people just tout biotin, but sometimes you may need more than biotin. If you are looking for supplementation to support hair growth, I tend to really focus on some of the, if you're trying to get an all-in-one and
Mm-hmm.
try not to take everything,
Mm-hmm.
vitamins like Nutrafol,
Okay.
some
Yep.
vitamins and Viviscal that are kind of backed by science, that have clinical trials.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I kind of encourage more because they are backed by science. There
Okay.
are other supplements that are not backed by science that I think are very healthy as well. But when I'm making a recommendation, those are the ones I know they're not full of synthetic
Right.
crap and chemicals and stuff. So I'm
Right.
all for vitamins and for vitamin supplementation.
Okay. Awesome.
And they also help to address the deficiencies within your body as
Mm-hmm.
well. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's important to go to the doctor and get like your blood work done.
Yep.
This, like I was saying, iron is one. Ferritin is another. Ferritin is your iron storage. So even if your iron is showing, your ferritin is showing, I think the scale might be like 15 to 150.
Mm-hmm.
Trichologists, we like to see that number around 70,
Okay.
because if it's less than 70, that may be in part why you may be dealing with hair loss. So
Mm-hmm.
ferritin is like a marker of your, even if your iron is normal, if your ferritin is getting low, that may be a marker for future
Mm.
iron issues in the future.
Okay.
So
I
that's
didn't know that.
very, yeah,
Mm.
it's very, very important. And quite frankly, that's what happened to me as well when I went plant based. So when I
Okay.
went plant based, I went plant based a year ago. Just because I went plant based, what I
Mhm.
learned is that even with plant based, you still need to know how to eat. So I
Right.
still have, I'm still going through this process of making sure I'm eating the right foods
Mm-hmm.
all of the time, and getting more, because I cut out meat. So that means I have to increase my consumption of different types of foods to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I am eating balance,
Right.
much more
Right.
balance. So ferritin is one that you want to look at
Right.
too.
Right. Okay. And when I got blood work early on, and my vitamin D was low. That was
Low,
one of mhm.
yeah,
So
it
I had,
is.
yep, it was, I had been on, it was funny. I started taking the supplement. I was, I would say self-diagnosing, but I was
Uh-huh.
on a hunt right before even before I had my actual appointment. I was doing all the research, and that was something that came up for me when on my research, like, okay, vitamin D. So anyway, I had started taking vitamin D, and then when I got the blood work 3 months later, which means I had been taking vitamin D for 3 months,
Mhm.
it was barely, it wasn't even at the normal levels. That tells you how low it probably was because
Wow,
I hadn't been
yeah.
so yeah, I'm all for the vitamin D.
Yeah, and it gives you energy. Like I said, it our bodies were created to have energy. Like,
Mhm.
you should have some energy when, if you get a good night's sleep,
Yes.
you should have energy, some level of energy. And if you
Mhm.
don't, then your body's talking to you again.
Mhm.
What's wrong? And your blood work may be off. So I
Yeah.
definitely encourage annual blood work, annual wellness visits. That's the
Right,
words,
right, right.
just to check on those things. And sometimes you may have to ask your doctor, can you check me for this? Or
Mhm.
can you check me for that? So sometimes you said, you called it self diagnosis. That's good. You can do
Yeah,
that. Yeah, take your health into your own hands and
yeah.
see what you need, what your doctor may need to test you for, because
Mhm.
sometimes they don't test you for vitamin D. You have to ask for
Yeah, that's what I did. I tell people to take a list. I had a list of all the blood tests that I wanted to take
it. That's
from
exactly what I,
hormonal. I was like, here are the things because if I have the insurance, I want the tests. And
yeah,
so, and they did it, but they would, like to your point, they would not have done it had I not
not ask.
asked.
Yeah. So you did right. You did right.
All right, so let's go to the questions.
Okay.
And so one question is, what are our options after scarring has taken place? For people who may not have caught it early and they have some scarring, is there a possibility for regrowth? And they put here
Also questions about steroids and red light therapy and
Mhm.
essential oil. So we can do one and then
Okay.
put it up.
Okay. So in general, with the scarring, the thing with scarring alopecias, like if you didn't catch it early, um, and by the time you caught it, depending on the progression of it, scarring alopecia is degenerative. So, in other words, that inflammation can destroy the hair follicle. And once the hair follicle is destroyed, it is no longer viable. And then there's fibrous or scarring tissue.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's beneath the scalp, so you can't really see it. But as
Mm-hmm.
a trichologist, we do have tools, microscopic tools that we can look to that we use to magnify the scalp so that we
Mm-hmm.
can see what it looks like what you can't see. Like we
Mm-hmm.
can blow it up, and a lot of times we can see what that scarring looks like. And it kind of gives us an indication of whether or not the hair will grow back or not. But
Okay.
even if you've had it for a while, then there with scarring alopecia, the area where it started first. So let's say it started right here. It's
Mm-hmm.
been here the longest, particularly with CCCA. So that type of alopecia is central. It starts
Mm-hmm.
right here in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Centrifugal means it radiates out. Cicatricial scarring alopecia hair loss. So the place where it starts, it's been there the longest.
Mm-hmm.
That's the area what I've seen that is least likely to come back
Okay.
where it starts because it's been there the longest. But when I'm treated CCCA, the pattern when the hair follicle is attacked, it goes out. When it grows
Mm-hmm.
back, it comes in. So that circle tends to get smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have it, if you have scarring, then the area where the hair follicle is no longer viable, it's no longer viable. But the first thing you want to make sure is that it's stabilized. So you want to keep it from progressing. So
Mm-hmm.
you can save the hair strands around that initial spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to focus on,
Mm-hmm.
saving the hair that you have.
Right.
And a lot of times you may not know. So when I say we can see, just topically, what may be happening, it's not 100%. A dermatologist can do a biopsy.
Yep.
That's when, so a biopsy will help to determine. Usually, a biopsy will tell you what type of alopecia you have, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times you don't know. It's hard to tell what follicles are being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can feel it. It's the itching, it's the burning. Some people are asymptomatic. They don't feel anything, but it's happening. So
Okay.
with that treatment, I think, oh gosh, it was a lot that you referred to. The red light
Mm-hmm.
therapy or the low level light therapy you can use, which kind of looks like this. I brought this over. It's different ways, different machines that you can use. This is one that I
Mm-hmm.
use or that you see the red light.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see it well. And they're different. This is Hair Max. I'm not promoting any one, but there are many, many different types of at-home therapies. And this is what a lot of times trichologists will use in their practice, the bigger machines, the red light. That red light is primarily energy. And
Okay.
energy is what that scalp or what the hair follicle needs to regenerate the cells
Oh.
and grow. So it's getting
Okay.
energy. That's just the layman term for it.
Right.
The
Right.
energy
Right.
to your scalp. So yes, red therapy is great
Mm-hmm.
for those with the scarring alopecia where the hair follicle is no longer viable. I would absolutely look into a transplant.
Okay.
Um, Now the transplant, the thing with the transplant and scarring alopecia, it has to the you want to do the work before the transplant to make sure as much as you can that that inflammation is kind of stabilized, that it's not
Right.
progressing.
Right.
Take
Right.
pictures, make sure it's not getting bigger, make sure it's not getting wider, for
Right.
example, and consider the transplant. There are different transplant centers around the country. I check with Bosley. That's the one that I hear
Okay.
about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I remember calling one day just asking questions, and they said, yeah, the person I spoke to said definitely do that consultation. So
Okay.
that is an option. There's also PRP, platelet rich plasma.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've
I've heard,
heard of
I've
that.
heard a little bit about that, but not.
Yeah,
Not.
that's
Mhm.
pretty much taking your blood. I've seen it done. It's kind of, these things interest me. It's it's taking your nutrient dense platelets from your blood. The blood is taken out, the platelets are separated, and then it's put back into your scalp to
Okay.
stimulate growth. that is an option as well.
Okay.
Then for people with that scarring in the areas that the hair may not grow, there
Mm-hmm.
is scalp pigmentation, which
Hmm.
is fancy for like scalp tattooing. I've seen it.
Okay.
I've had
Okay.
clients do it. It's amazing. It helps to blend so that the bald areas don't just pierce out so much. So it's
I've
kind of like
never seen that. That
scalp
okay. I
pigmentation.
need to look
I
that up.
have a I know
Okay.
I have a few people who've done that.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it's not like I'm not minimizing it and calling it a
Right.
tattoo because it's a completely different technique. Because the way it's done, it looks more natural
Mm-hmm.
the way it's done. So it does require special training to do it. It does
Mm-hmm.
require more than one session to do it as well. But scalp pigmentation, that's an
Mm-hmm.
option as well. And then some trichologists, and sometimes you can do it on your own, will do micro needling or derma roller. I don't have one to show it to you. There are different types of micro needles or derma rollers,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just little you can get one on Amazon for $10 or $15.
Mm-hmm.
And you take it, it is little needles, and but the needles should not hurt, but
Okay.
you roll it on the scalp. And what it does in a nutshell, it, for lack of better words, wounds the scalp so that it tells the body, hey, I have an injury. What happens with the injury? Your body will kick in, and that's where the inflammation comes in, and which is a good thing. But through that process, it
Huh.
stimulates the cellular regeneration so your hair can grow. And in addition to that, it
Huh.
will, the product, it creates more entryways for whatever product or essential oil or topical product that you are using. It creates more entryways for that product to seep down into the follicle to stimulate growth.
Okay.
Those are old options. Now remember, with
There are a lot
scarring,
of
there
options.
is it's a lot of options. Now
Mm-hmm.
remember with scarring alopecia, with because it's that inflammatory component, if you do have like a lot of burning and a lot of itching, that's
Right.
clearly active. You don't want to put no micro needle there. So
Right.
those
Right.
are the things where I'm saying it. These are the things if you seek assistance from a dermatologist or a trichologist will normally take this approach, then I'm giving these suggestions, but don't just go out and do it. If
Right.
you are at a place where your scalp is on fire, you don't want to do that.
Right. Right.
Steroid injections, like dermatologists, they usually do that to reduce the inflammation.
Yep.
And so before the hair can regrow, the inflammation has to be reduced. So if there's a lot of inflammation that's, for lack of better words, choking the follicle, it's not going to produce hair.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're treating clients, the number one thing is to stabilize it, to reduce the inflammation. That's number one. And for some people, that is their treatment plan, reduce the
Mm-hmm.
inflammation. Number two is to restore the hair where you have active hair follicles.
Right. Right.
If there is no blood flow to that hair follicle, hair will not grow.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
care what you put on it. I don't care what you do. If there's no
Mm-hmm.
blood flow, hair won't grow.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where, in terms of that transplant, may be helpful in those cases.
Right. I went to the dermatologist. I'm the one that I highly recommends a biopsy because
Mhm,
when I was bald here, right? I mean, I had
mhm,
bald, the whole kind of, it just kind of, it was bald there. It actually had started going to other places. And she did the biopsy, and on the pathology report, it
mhm,
said numerous hair follicles in the subcutaneous layer.
mhm.
That let me know that I had something to work with.
Something
And so
right.
we may not all get the same thing, but that's why I think that report and that treatment, whether it's a trichologist or a dermatologist, is so important. So you know what you're working with. I'm all for YouTube University, obviously, but all
Mhm.
these things. But I highly recommend everyone, if you're watching, if you have not sought treatment, please do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I highly recommend that as
yeah.
well. A trichologist or dermatologist. Like I
Mhm.
said, we are not doctors, so we not will not give you a diagnosis. But we've studied hair loss, we've studied patterns. We can give you our recommendation. We can recommend different types of hair loss treatments, but we can't do a biopsy. And
Right.
a lot of times, we will refer you
Right.
to a dermatologist. Like you should go to a dermatologist if we're not sure, go to a dermatologist so that we can get some clarity. And a lot of times the dermatologist will give you a treatment plan, but a trichologist, in terms of what we do, might be a little different. We work with what the
Right.
dermatologist will say, but a lot of times, some dermatologists do this as well, but I know the main difference with trichologists, we will take that full person approach.
Mhm.
I will take the holistic approach. So we're going to talk about not just your hair and not just your scalp, because when the body is in homeostasis, the hair will follow.
Mm.
So hair growth is the bonus. So we're going
Mhm.
to focus on you, your lifestyle, like we talked about the food. Exercise. Are you exercising? What does your stress look like? Are you stressed out? Are you on medication? What type of medication you're on? Sometimes the medication can be
Yes.
contributing to your hair loss. You can go online and look up any
Yep.
medication and see what that medication is causing your body to be deficient in. So if the
Mhm.
medication is causing a deficiency in, I don't know, vitamin D, then maybe you need to increase your vitamin
Mhm.
D,
Mhm.
for example. So you can do that as well. But the trichologist, we're going to take that full person holistic approach in addition to the topical hair care as well.
Right. Right. And that's a gift. That's a important gift. Okay. So the last question, I keep saying the last question. The last
Uh-huh.
question is going to be around hair care products. And
Okay.
I know you have a hair product line. So maybe
Hmm.
you can mix that in and say, what are the
Okay.
things from how we should be caring for our hair? What products should we be using? And then we will close with, I want you to start thinking about this. I'm going to ask you to multitask.
Okay.
That is one question. But then also, what is the best next step for someone who's dealing with hair loss to do from your perspective? So we can do that as a wrap up, and then of course close with your prayer.
Mm, that's good. That last question is
Okay.
good. Okay. All right. All right. So let me shift. Okay. In terms of products
Hair
that we're
care
talking about,
products. Mhm.
hair care products, hair care practices. In terms of hair care practices, number one thing that we're not doing enough of in general, we don't wash our hair. We don't
Mhm.
wash our scalp. Like the scalp environment has to be ideal for growth in general. So
Mhm.
just generally speaking, Black women, I feel like we don't wash our hair. So I would get in the habit, generally speaking, of washing once a week, which for
Mhm.
some is normal. For others, it's like, oh my God, I can't wash once a week. But yes, you can. That's
Right.
number one. Generally speaking, get in the habit of washing your hair once a week and be mindful of what you're washing your hair with. I know um, many people may or may not know about like the toxic ingredients
Mhm.
in products. So just as if you are natural, you cut out the chemicals. You don't want to turn around and put toxic shampoos and conditioners right back on your scalp, because
Mhm.
over time that could affect your scalp health as well. So get in the habit of shampooing more frequently, get in the habit of deep conditioning more frequently. So healthy hair starts at the scalp, right? So, but you want to maintain the health of your hair. So,
Right.
in addition to scalp care, our natural hair is dry. I recommend deep treating once a week. I know that may sound so. If you wash once a week, you can put your conditioner in your hair and sit under the dryer
Right.
once a week. If you don't have a dryer, we can go bootleg. You can put a cap on your head and do it in the shower. You can put no cap on your head and do a lot of steam. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's ways you can deep treat that hair. So that's in terms of treatment. Hairstyles
Mhm.
with hair loss, just be very mindful of. I know there's a big focus on protective styles, which is fine. I'm all for
Right.
protective styles, but just because you're in a protective style, you should not neglect your hair and your scalp.
Right.
So if you are in a protective style, if you are using products to treat your scalp, products to treat your scalp, if you're dealing with hair loss, one of my favorites is like rosemary, for example.
Mhm.
Rosemary does stimulate growth. Peppermint stimulates growth. Chamomile reduces inflammation. Lavender reduces inflammation. Those have to be mixed with carrier oils because they're too potent to be put on the scalp by itself. My favorite carrier oil is castor oil.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, you mix it.
Mhm.
So, you want more, generally speaking, a 3-to-1 ratio.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, if you have 4 ounces of castor oil, you can put 1 ounce of rosemary. for
Mhm.
example. You don't want it, if it's burning, you'll experience a tingle, but you don't want it to burn
Right.
because that can
Right.
exacerbate the problem. Now, in terms of oils, my only drawback with oils in general, particularly with some of the scarring alopecia also affects the sebaceous gland. Your sebaceous gland is what helps to produce the sebum, and the sebum is what lubricates the scalp, thereby lubricating the hair.
Okay.
So if your sebaceous gland is compromised, then the hydration of your hair is
Mm,
compromised. Oils
okay.
don't hydrate, oils lubricate, oils don't hydrate. The
Right.
only thing that can hydrate your body and your scalp is, guess what? Water. So products that are housed in water, like
Mhm.
water-based products. A lot of women use a lot of oils because that's what we're used to.
Mhm.
We have relaxers. You know, you don't put no water with relaxed
Right.
hair. But just from doing my research, if the scalp is chronically dry, then water-based products are best. And that is the product that I have a part of my product line. Part of the
Mhm.
reason I developed the Curl House Hair Restoration Collection is what's specifically for my clients who are dealing with hair loss, slow growing hair, or scalp issues. But my main product is this product that people love, the Follicle Stimulating Growth Drops by Curl House. It's a part of
Okay.
my collection. It's housed in water as
Mm,
opposed to oil. So people say, "Oh, Karen, I love your growth oil." It's not a growth oil. It's not oil. It does have a lot of those plant-based botanicals in it. Some that I talked about: rosemary, peppermint, chamomile, lavender, white willow bark. I can go on all
mhm.
the healthy stuff. So it's kind of like what I call the vitamins in a bottle, but it's
Nice.
housed in water. So just be mindful of that when you're putting oils on your scalp. You can put oils on your scalp and make sure your scalp is getting the proper hydration as well. That's
Right.
number
Right.
one.
Right.
And even in scalp care with hair loss is key. Doing things such as apple cider vinegar rinses, for example,
Mhm.
it's great for the scalp. If you have your hair in braids, for example, if your hair loss is stabilized, let me put that up there.
I so want to,
It's
you look, again, you're
it
talking to me because I want to get the crochet so bad, but I also am like, I know it's super tender, so I need to wait. But go ahead.
no, 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 no. There will
Don't
be
do
no, no, no. There will be no braids if your scalp is still tender. No,
I mean,
no, no.
it's
Because
not like hard. I know that I know that it's not time. That's all I can say.
boy, don't let me, because you know here is my YouTube studio. Don't let me pull out some of my mannequins and start doing my demonstrations. That's all over my videos. No, when your hair follicle is compromised, and it is, you don't want to put
Yeah.
any added weight. So even a little pressure is a lot of pressure. And it's
Yeah.
not just a little pressure one time. It's this little bit of pressure that you keep in for 4 to 8 weeks. So that little bit of pressure becomes a lot of pressure. And that's what can cause another hair loss disorder that's like going through our community, traction
Mhm.
alopecia, which is tension. So if you already have inflammation, no
Yeah.
hair relaxers, no,
No. Yeah.
no added weight, no. If anything, I understand we want to look fabulous. Um, a wig is an
Mhm.
option because guess what? A wig, you can take it off.
Yeah.
Now, I heard you say something about crochet braids.
Mhm.
I've always been like team crochet braids for those who are dealing with hair loss
Mhm.
because crochet braids, as opposed to loose hanging braids like Senegalese twists or
Mhm.
knotless braids or box braids, that when the hair is hanging down, it just adds more weight here. But
Mhm.
crochet braids, your hair is cornrow and the hair is kind of anchored
Mhm.
um, onto the scalp, and you can get to your scalp. So if you're using an oil or growth drops, or you can open up that hair and still get to your scalp, and you
Mhm.
can still focus on scalp care. That's why I like crochet braids. Now, I will say this because I'm constantly studying, I'm constantly learning. I haven't done a lot of research. Like, you even have to be careful with crochet braids because
Mhm.
it's loose hair, and sometimes that loose hair can irritate the scalp and exacerbate the hair
Yeah.
loss. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, it's like a cat, like, can we do anything?
Yep.
So I did hear that as well because I've always been team crochet braids, but
Mhm.
you can clean the chemicals off of weave. You can clean.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
clean it prior to using it with the apple cider water mix. You can dip it in and clean it before attaching it to your
Mm-hmm.
hair, and that can help. But no, if you're still feeling it, no, ma'am.
I'm
You
not.
can
I'm not.
you
I'm not.
your
Not.
short haircut looks fabulous.
Look, I'm about to.
Okay,
I'm just gonna trim it up a little bit and just keep it moving.
shape it up and keep it moving. No, ma'am, there will be no weave for you. You can treat yourself in about a year.
Right. Exactly.
That's how long it takes. About a
Exactly.
year.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. I got you. I got it. I got it. Okay. So best. Also, I'm going to, just so everyone knows, I'm going to link to all of her socials, all of the website, the products. Go follow Karen of Curl House. Go subscribe to her channel. She's got posts and YouTubes. Follow her on IG. But we'll do that again. But just I'm telling you,
Okay.
this woman is a gem. Okay, so best next step. Somebody, they don't know what to do. I got alopecia. I just got a diagnosis. I haven't gotten a diagnosis. I know I have hair loss. What do I do tonight? What do I do tomorrow?
Okay. Very good question. This may be probably not what you want to hear, or not what you're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find out you have hair loss, like, what are the next steps? The first step, you have to make an internal decision, because you know you got hair loss. You know you got to treat it. You know you got to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to do what I call a paradigm shift. The very first thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say a paradigm is a paradigm with the P. It's like going from one model to another model.
Mm-hmm.
So a paradigm shift is very similar, where we're going from one model to another model. So usually if you're dealing with anything dealing with the hair, you automatically will say, oh my gosh, what's going on with my hair? What do I need to put in my hair? Let me start doing all this research. Oh, let me put this oil. Let me put this on my scalp where I can do this. Let me get this minoxidil. Let me do this. Let me do that. That's our mindset. That's
Yeah.
what we automatically think. We think hair. A paradigm shift is changing what you value, as opposed to as opposed to valuing the health of your hair. You have to do a shift and value the health of your body. You have to value your health. That is the first thing. You have to make a decision that you are going to live your best healthy life. That's number one. And all of your changes that you're going to make, everything that you're going to do to your hair, is going to be second to what happens within your body. So you're going to make a paradigm shift. And what does that look like? You're going to change your mindset. You're going to say, you know what? I'm dealing with hair loss. I'm going to fight this hair loss. I'm going to do it by changing my lifestyle so that I have a healthy body first. And then hair will follow.
Yep.
That's the very first thing. You have to make the decision. You have to speak it. You have, because that's what's going to help you change your mindset. So most people will say, oh, you got to change your mindset and prioritize your health, but you can't prioritize something that you don't value.
Right. Right.
So if you value your health, you're going to make certain lifestyle changes to prioritize your health. And I feel like most of us know something we need to change as it relates to our health.
Right.
Like everybody's different. Everybody has areas we need to work on.
Right.
So if it's just, hey, I'm going to exercise. Okay, I'm going to make a commitment to exercise 3 days a week. Exercise can be going on a 30-minute walk. It's as simple as that. It's going to help your body, and it's going to help you to de-stress.
Right.
Or I eat a lot of junk food. Okay, I'm going to cut out my junk food during the week, and I'm going to eat it on the weekend. So just make a decision to prioritize your health. And that's what I call making a paradigm shift. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes.
Y'all got to join me now. Join my team now.
Yes.
I made the paradigm shift. I want you to make that paradigm
Yes.
shift. I want you to start valuing your health, because when you value your health and when you prioritize the health of your body, your hair will follow. That is how God created the body. And after you do that, that's number one. After you do that, then you can contact a dermatologist or a trichologist. That's number two.
Right.
Contact someone for help. Number three, you can do your own research as well. That's number three. Because see, if it's like doing your own research, you might be able to go down that rabbit hole. That's the thing with doing it, because anything you looking online, you gonna find.
Right.
Believe me. So what it is. When it's all said and done, you might say, oh my God, I have cancer. That's why I have to, you got to be mindful when I say
Right.
doing your own research,
Be
because you might go
careful.
down a rabbit hole. That's why I say you can connect with a professional, but not
Yes.
everybody has that option to connect with a professional, like to go to a dermatologist. Sometimes there's a wait. Then connect with someone whom you trust, and that person can be online. That can be
Right.
you. That can be me. Someone you can get answers from. You can get, have your questions answered. Because
Right.
if you put in any symptom, you're going to get a lot of diagnoses online. That's
Mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
you got to be careful going down the rabbit hole.
Right.
That's why I recommend get with a professional, a dermatologist, trichologist, even your doctor, to check on blood work to see what's going on within your body. Am I missing something? Am I deficient in something? Are my hormones all over the place? Because a lot of times once that body is stabilized, the hair will follow.
Right. Right.
So I do recommend that paradigm shift, taking the body, scalp, hair approach to
Mm-hmm.
hair growth, meaning focus on the body, then the scalp, then the hair.
Okay.
As opposed, yeah, it's kind of like my framework. I am about to release an online class soon, and that's the framework I take:
Right.
body, scalp, hair approach to hair loss.
And you have
So
an open invitation. I'm saying is you have an open invitation to come back and tell us how to get
I
involved in this course.
I
Okay.
will. I
Okay.
will. Give me about 30 days.
Got it.
And we're
Got
gonna
it.
do that again. I got
Okay.
30 days and we're gonna talk about that
Okay.
course.
Okay.
But that's number one. Make a paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
Prioritize your health first.
Awesome.
Because that's what is going to sustain you.
Mm-hmm.
So when people would come to see me as a trichologist, I would say, I love you, but I don't want to see you for the rest of my life. Okay. I want to give you the tools that you need to regrow your hair through healthy lifestyle practices.
Mm-hmm.
So unlike as a hairstylist, when I was practicing hair, I could see you for the rest of my life. It's
Mm-hmm.
cool. You can come to me every month. That's
Right.
cool. I still
Right.
taught you how to do stuff in between, but ain't nothing like going to your hair stylist. As a trichologist, we don't want to keep you as clients.
Right.
We want to equip you with the tools that you need to sustain your hair growth outside of me. And that's what doing that paradigm shift, that's what it does. If you focus on the lifestyle, then the
Mm-hmm.
hair will take care of itself. So yes, you may need topical stuff to help and to support you along the way. But if you take that lifestyle approach to
Mm-hmm.
really focus on your body, then eventually you may not need to add growth drops every single day or put oil on your scalp every single day to increase blood circulation, because you're getting that by exercising. You're getting that by massaging your scalp, right? You're getting that by some of the foods that you're eating, right? You may not need to apply products to help to reduce that inflammation, because you're reducing the inflammation in your body by what you eat.
Right.
So if you take that approach, then you may not be so married to products for the rest of your life.
Right. Right.
There we go.
This has been amazing.
Yay!
Thank you so much. So can you tell us where we can find you and follow you?
Okay. I'm not everywhere, almost everywhere. I'm very active on YouTube, Karen of Curl House. My business is Curl House. So on YouTube, I'm Karen of Curl House. On Instagram, I am Curl House. I put a lot of other like stuff relevant to exercise, and it's just an exercise journey because I'm really, really into fitness on my personal IG page. So I invite you to like that as well. I am Karen Flowers on Instagram. And yeah, I am Karen Flowers.
Okay.
That's the page that I'm building now. And
Okay.
also Curl House on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I'm
Okay.
Curl House on Facebook as
Okay.
well. Curl House on TikTok, but I don't use it yet.
Okay.
So I'm most
Oh,
active
you will blow up on TikTok. Let me
on
just tell you.
TikTok. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, okay. It's like you try to manage all these social media outlets, but I
I
am
know.
on Curl House on in TikTok. I might have 2 videos, but I'm up there. But my goal is to be more active up there.
I
Of
got
course, I
one.
have.
So you're beating me.
Yeah,
I got one.
you got. I have my website, which is www.curlhouse.com. My website, and if you want to join my not my wait list, join my email listserv. When you go to my my website, curlhouse.com, you'll get a pop up. And I promise you, I do not inundate you with emails. I do not have time for that. I might send out an email once a week, if that, on occasion, twice a week. But a lot of times I'll put out my new video from YouTube as well on that mailing list if you want to join that mailing list.
Nice, nice. So why don't we close out? If you have any other closing comments, but can we close out with the prayer that you wrote?
Absolutely. So I have a prayer that I send out to clients that I pray with my clients. I used to pray with my clients. Now I just give them this prayer card. I have the prayer on my YouTube channel if you put prayer in my channel. But I'm going to go ahead and pray it. And if you want a card, if you actually want me to email you or mail you a physical card, I can do that as well. Just send me an email to info@curlhouse.com. That's the email. But let's go ahead and close out in prayer. Okay. Thank you, Lord, for this day and for your many blessings. Thank you for the courage to acknowledge my hair loss and for the faith and courage to take action to reverse and prevent further hair loss. I ask that you restore the health of my scalp and hair and activate my hair follicles and keep me mindful of my responsibilities to do self-care. Show me strategies to help me manage and minimize my stress. Please give me strength and discipline to eat healthier and exercise regularly. Give me the power to make changes in my life that I may live a long, healthy, and prosperous life. Allow me to be a success story so that I may encourage others to step into faith and restore their crown. Thank you for caring about me and caring about my concerns. For these things I am thankful, and for these things I pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. May it go to the four corners of the world for every woman that needs to hear and see this this video, the prayer, your website, your resources. Just thank you so much. You are such a gift.
Very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. You about to
And
make me cry. I don't know why.
And we will see you back here when you launch your course.
1 month. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.